Hi guys. I've run into so many guys in the whole get women community, and there's always guys that claim to approach, hundreds, sometimes even thousands of women without getting laid, sometimes without even getting dates. And I realize, I can't believe guys actually do that, in terms of putting that much work and not reflecting on, maybe there's something wrong that needs to be addressed, instead of banging my head against the wall hundreds, if not thousands of times with no results to show for it. Guess what? There's a problem that needs to be fixed. Here's the thing. Girls will signal to you, provide they actually see you, that they're interested. It's not something they even do consciously. It's something that, she feels attraction towards you. She has to look at you. She has to look back at you. She has to look at you twice. Maybe she kind of smiles. Maybe there's tons of little things that women do that signal that they're interested in you. And I know what you're thinking, well, I never get any kind of signals. Yeah, that's why you're the guy that's approaching 100 women and not getting any kind of result. No dates, no lays, no nothing. So what does that mean? It probably means, in most cases, that you have to improve your looks at least somewhat in order to meet a minimum looks threshold with these women that you're going after, the women that you're approaching. So yeah, without doing this, without making some kind of improvement in your presentation, improvement in your product, you're going to go through 10,000 women. You're going to go through thousands of women, and you're going to constantly be hearing no. And you're constantly going to be wondering, what the hell's wrong with you? Your self-esteem gets slowly eroded away as you've heard, no, women flaking on you, women treating you like shit. And it's because you haven't upgraded your product enough for the market. The market has decided that, they're just not interested in what your presentation. It's the exact same thing if you were working on sales, on the street. Let's say you were selling a vacuum, and you sell that vacuum on the street. After all, everybody needs a vacuum, right? They all have to clean their carpets. So you put the vacuum out there, you put the price on there, and you set up a stand, and you set it up on a busy street where everybody can walk by and see it. And there's thousands of people walking by your product, and they're looking at it and just keep on walking. Now, after 1,000 people walk by, you have to wonder, there's something wrong with this product. Maybe it's priced too high, or maybe it just doesn't look very high quality. It looks, cheap and it won't work. In this case, improvements need to be made in the presentation. And it's the same thing with a man. If you're approaching, hundreds, thousands of women with no results to show from it, there needs to be improvements. It does no good for you to approach even more women. You're just slowly eroding away your confidence and your self-esteem in yourself. So yes, there needs to be improvements in your, overall look. And this is why, I can tell just by looking at a guy whether he's going to struggle, whether he's going to be one of those 1,000 approaches with nothing to show for it guys, or whether he's going to be if this guy makes 50 or 100 approaches, he will probably get laid. And you can tell that just by looking at a guy and how he presents himself. You can say yes, women will find this guy attractive. And in some rare cases, it's not necessarily the look that's turning women off. It's how they're presenting themselves and how they approach women. Usually being over talkative without giving the woman, getting to know the woman and asking them questions, as opposed to I've got to impress this girl, so I've got to talk a lot about myself. No, you don't talk about yourself. You just ask questions. That's all you're doing. So in some rare cases, it's the guy that's not necessarily like his looks that are holding him back. It's his overall like presentation, how he presents himself to these women, and trying to be like talking too much, essentially, where your goal should be to find out about this girl, ask questions, and see how she reacts, see how like does she show interest back. And some guys will make the claim that like, oh, like only good looking guys can rely on choosing signals. No, sorry to break it to you, but if women like you expose yourself, a lot of women have seen you and none of them are giving you any kind of choosing signal, it means you're average. You just blend into the background. You are essentially invisible. And no amount of game, no amount of like mass approaching is gonna fix that. This is why, like, yes, I can look at a guy and know within a split second whether he's gonna be one of these guys that's, you know, has to, like, he's approached hundreds, if not thousands of women, and he's got nothing to show for it. And yes, it's very easy to tell. And you'll have other guys that, you know, they've put time in like making themselves attractive, and all it is for them is to getting them to like play the numbers, just roll the dice, present yourself to the market, and good things will happen. You'll get dates, you'll get lays, provided you actually put in a little work. Whereas the other guys, they're putting in tons of work, way more than like most guys would ever consider. I would never consider, if I had to approach 100 women and not have any dates, I would have been like, this cold approach shit like doesn't work, complete bullshit. But no, it does work, provided you actually meet a minimum like looks threshold for the women that you're approaching. And if you keep on if the market keeps on telling you that they're not interested, you've got to change the product. Could you imagine like any other product like being like, well, nobody wants my product, but I just got to like show more people my product after like thousands of people have seen it? They're just like, nah, like not interested in that. So yes, what do you do? Like, what do you do if you're one of these guys that's approached like thousands of women and like nothing to show for it? Well, one of the first things you can do is look at men that are with the women that you desire. Go to like a mall or a busy like downtown street and look at the girls and the men that they're with. How do you stack up? Be honest with yourself. How do you stack up to these guys? Can you beat them like maybe in height, maybe in your like fashion sense, maybe in your, you know, like there's a million different ways you can kind of, you know, work around. Like, do you compare to them? Could you be in the same league as them? And if not, then you're gonna have to like change and become those guys. Be more like those guys. Maybe you have to get bigger and more muscular so actually women take you seriously. Maybe you have to, you know, like lose weight. It's a big one. Like get in better shape. Like there's a million different things, but you have to look at like, what are these women that you're going after? Who are they dating? Who are they like in relationships with? And can you stack up to those guys? And if not, then you've got work to do. You've got to like put in the effort to get to their level. Otherwise, you're just going to be spinning your wheels more and more, wondering what the hell's wrong, and your self-esteem just gets completely smashed. Whereas like, had you improved your looks, all of a sudden, you're going to have, you know, positive experiences. Even like, not every approach is going to be like amazing. Some will be like very rude, and some will be like, you know, you'll encounter weird people, but the majority of your interactions with women will be very positive. Women will like, you know, be thankful that you actually tried to talk to them. You actually started a conversation with them. And yeah, it completely changes the game. You have to, you know, put in the work. And some will require more work than others. So yes, choosing signals are not optional. You can't just be like, like write them completely off and be like, you know, like, no. Women that are interested in a product look at it and they stare at it. If a woman like sees something she likes, she looks at it. She doesn't like, oh, like pretend that she didn't see it. Every woman that I've ever approached that have made eye contact with me and just ignored me, like didn't even register on her radar, I've went and approached her numerous times, and it always goes well. Like the approach goes well. I get the number's live, and she responds to my text, but I can never meet up with them. Why? Because she wasn't available in the first place, or she just wasn't interested. But guess what? The women that actually are interested, when they make eye contact, they look again, they smile, they do all kinds of like hints that, yes, subconscious hints that they're interested. And it's something that can't be avoided. It can't be brushed aside. And that's why like guys that, say like, I never get any choosing signals. Yeah, that's why you have no dates. That's why you have no lays. Because like, it's that important. It's a requirement. And yes, if a woman has never laid eyes on you, let's say your phone, like she's staring at her phone or staring at a newspaper, and you can't get her to look at you, by all means, go ahead and approach. I've had very good success with approaching women that are just like staring at a phone or staring at something on the grocery store, and they don't see me coming and I start a conversation. I've had tons of success doing that, tons of lays doing that. So that is not what I consider a waste of time. What I consider a waste of time is a girl seeing you, not giving like, she completely looks past you. You are invisible to her. And then going like, well, I'm gonna make sure this girl notices me, and going and talking to her and having it go nowhere. Maybe you get a phone number, big deal. And yes, that's complete waste of time. When girls see you and they like, it's completely obvious that like she is not looking twice, she's not smiling, it's like you don't even exist. Do not approach these women. They're specifically doing that to say like, no, like I'm not interested. Whereas a girl that is interested will make it known, whether she realizes it or not. So guys, don't be one of those guys that's approaching hundreds or thousands of women with no results to show for it. This is the sign that the market needs you to improve. You need to improve yourself to be appealing to the market. So yeah, that's the video, guys. Thanks for watching.